Hi there. Welcome back to the Reel Film Chronicles podcast. As always, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Brian.
And in this week's very special episode, we're going to be taking a look at a little film called Captain America: Brave New World.
It is a very special episode. We are returning to the MCU with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for all us lay people out there.
That's right. The time limits on our restraining order have finally expired, and we're allowed to talk about the MCU again.
Yeah, I think we really chewed into Black Widow movie early on. We briefly mentioned it before. It was like half an episode on that, and it was just bad. And I just want to say a lot of the MCU stuff since Endgame has been pretty poor. And obviously, like, the ratings have been declining. The box office has been declining. Have you gone in and rewatched any of the post-Endgame content, movies, or even TV shows for that matter?
Rewatch? I don't think I've actually, now that you mention it, I don't think I've done a rewatch of any movies. I watched them all they were kind of one and done mostly for me.
Yeah.
I have a couple sitting on my shelf, like some of the ones I actually enjoyed, like the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but I haven't actually popped it in yet again. So,
because that's a big difference from the first phases, the first round of MCU films. We rewatch those movies frequently. Like, I've seen Iron Man half a dozen times, and it was fun to revisit. It's like when a new movie was coming out, it was kind of fun to rewatch the last few of them leading up into it.
Exactly.
We don't really get that anymore. I've been the same way. I have not rewatched. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did rewatch Black Widow. I think I was visiting my sister, and we had that on because they were going through the entire MCU in chronological order, like not
like in terms of the events of the movies and TV shows.
That's right.
They're really okay.
And so we watched. I think it was Civil War, and then we watched Black Widow afterwards, like pretty much where the movie should be in the timeline.
Oh, interesting.
And it was a very different context to the movie. Yeah. I don't know if it made it any more enjoyable, but I mean, it was kind of fun to revisit that. But I really haven't gone and revisited any of the movies. The TV shows, have you watched all the MCU TV shows? Because the whole landscape has changed with, movies and shows that are all tied together now.
The hierarchy of power in the MCU is about to change. No, but it's funny you mentioned that, because I kind of got burned out on the Marvel TV shows after like a couple, like two of them. But watching Captain America: Brave New World, you know what? I felt the bug to actually go back and start getting caught up on some of these shows again. Wow. So I think really the last full one I watched was literally Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
So I think that was the second TV show. Yeah. And that was probably the last TV show you watched.
Yeah, I was partway through Moon Knight, and I don't know what happened, but my son and I kind of gave up on that, or life happened and we didn't get back to it. But you know what? I don't know what it was, but literally went last night with my son, theaters, watched the new Captain America movie. And afterwards I was like, you know what? I'm kind of curious about what's going on in the TV shows. I might pop some of theen guys in now. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just like enough time has passed, or like I feel like I've, like I haven't been keeping up with the Marvel stuff as much, on the TV side for sure. And so I was like, okay, I've had enough of a kind of a breathing room where it's like I feel ready to kind of dive back in again.
I'm not a huge advocate for these TV shows. TV shows are usually taking a backseat to my movie watching anyways.
Yep.
But I have taken some time to watch almost all of them. I did not finish Secret Invasion. I think I got 2 episodes in before I pulled the chute on that. I do feel a little guilty, and I feel even more guilt that I didn't watch all the original Netflix Marvel series, like all the extra seasons of Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Jessica Jones season
Punisher.
2 and Luke Cage and Punisher season 2s. I haven't seen all those yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some decent stuff there, but not really relevant to the MCU.
The Defenders kind of killed my interest in that Netflix stuff for a bit. That was a bitter disappointment. Yeah.
One thing I would recommend is going back and watching Daredevil season 3, because I think that one was kind of like a return to form after the Defenders.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. That one's top of my list. Is that all that stuff? Is that all on Disney Plus now?
It's all on Disney Plus, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go look because I know Daredevil Born Again is coming out soon. So I got to get caught up on Daredevil at least for sure.
That's right. So here we are. At least you've watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show. Now, I watched it, but that was years ago. I didn't remember all the details. Before watching this new movie, I did have a friend kind of fill me in on some of the details I had forgotten about, which didn't end up really playing a factor into this movie at all, which was maybe neither good or bad. It was just is what it is. But yeah, here we are, the fourth Captain America movie, I think, because you had Captain America, Winter Soldier, and then Civil War, which was kind of like Avengers, like 2.5 or 3.5 or something, whatever. It was a huge movie.
Yeah.
And then going like really scaling back down for a fourth film, which is almost like a curse of the MCU because Iron Man never got a fourth film. The only one that really did was Thor. And the fourth Thor movie.
No, there's only 3 Thor movies.
Right?
I'm pretty sure there's only 3. I'm pretty sure you're misremembering that, Brian.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Where do we even start with this movie? I mean, the anticipation going in. Were you excited for this? Like, I'll just say right after, like, it's been so long since we had a proper MCU movie. And I don't really count Deadpool as like proper MCU. I mean, I know it is officially in the phase list and everything, but it very much felt like a finisher thing. Or continuing its own. Yeah,
it felt like its own kind of parallel project. You know what? I was looking forward to seeing the new Captain America movie. For me, the Captain America movies, like that's my favorite trilogy in the MCU. Winter Soldier is still my favorite MCU movie overall.
Mm-hmm.
Love Anthony Mackie. Love when he shows up. He's a great actor. Great presence. He did a great job in the MCU so far. So you know what? When I was seeing the ads, you know what? I was cautiously optimistic. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Anthony Mackie finally gets his like crack big screen, because I know on the small screen he became Captain America on the show, but it's like Sam Wilson finally he's getting the Captain America title on the big screen. This is kind of cool. And for the first time in a while, I was actually getting stoked for a Marvel film again. It felt for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's just because it didn't feel like there was a lot last year. I think last year, was it just Deadpool and Wolverine last year?
It was only Deadpool came out last year, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's why. It was like last year was almost like some breathing room. Like I wasn't watching a whole bunch of MCU movies. I haven't been paying attention to the shows that much. So like I haven't been watching a whole bunch of MCU stuff. So maybe that was the difference where it's like, okay,
yeah,
had some breathing room, and coming back to it was like, okay, it felt almost, and then going to the theater, right? Going to the theater with my son, getting the popcorn bucket, which I have right here.
Did you get the collectible cup? Oh, there it is. Not only the collectible popcorn bucket, but the collectible drink cup as well, which I was hemming and hawing on. I was like,
I didn't go. There was in their combo to get. It was like the popcorn bucket, the shape of like his helmet.
Yeah,
I think it was an extra $10, and it was just for the bucket. You didn't get the drink and combo thing. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go pay more for less. But like, you know what? Like, I went with my son, and he's still young enough to like just be excited to see superheroes on the big screen.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. And so maybe the whole experience around it for me was like, yeah, I was feeling hope. Like Captain America is always kind of a sign of hope. I was feeling hopeful again about the MCU.
I mean, that's pretty fair. Like I think I went in cautiously optimistic as well. I didn't think it was going to be a great movie, and I didn't think it was going to be bad. We've been treated to 3 awful Marvel movies last year, thanks to Sony. You got
Marvel adjacent, yeah.
Marvel adjacent, Madam Web, Craven, Venom 3, and it's like, oh, it's not going to be as bad as those ones. And I'm really happy it did not turn out to be complete schlock. It's definitely not the strongest Marvel or even Captain America movie, but you know what? A franchise that's like 30 plus films deep, you're allowed to have a couple misfires here and there. And I still enjoyed my time watching the movie. It was kind of sad, like watching this on the big screen in the IMAX theater, and there's maybe 10 other people in the whole screening. It was just like, people are not showing up for this stuff. But I think I don't know if it's more of a testament to the Marvel stuff, superhero fatigue, or I really think it's more cinema fatigue. Like it's the landscape has changed in the box office now. It's just not going to achieve the same numbers or same audiences anymore.
Our theater last night I went to, I was telling you, I unintentionally went to the laser projector theater. I was like, why are these tickets so expensive? I just I saw the first thing on the landmark page. It's like, it was a laser ultra theater. But it was pretty full. It wasn't jam packed, but like our row was completely full. I think there were like a handful of seats left when I was booking the day of. So like it was pretty full in there, and it was like a nice experience. There were no, it's always hit or miss when you go with the audience, right? Because like sometimes you get good audiences and bad audiences of people on their phones and are talking and stuff. And it was a good audience. Everyone kept their mouth shut and just watched the movie. It was great. It's just like, I can't believe like the bare minimum expectations for a theater or what excites me now.
So we've got Julius Ona directing this movie. Previously, he's directed The Cloverfield Paradox. Did you ever see that one?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
That was the one, I believe, that aired immediately after one of the Super Bowls on Sunday night. Netflix
it was like a surprise movie that no one knew about. It's
one that I've actually gone back to because to me, it's decent sci-fi fun. And it's kind of Cloverfield. Obviously, you mentioned Anthony Mackie in here as, Captain America, the Falcon, fully upgraded. We have a new Falcon, Danny Ramirez, who is Joaquin Torres in the movie.
Yep.
We've obviously got Harrison Ford coming in as Ross, President Ross now. Not taking over for was he General Ross before?
Yeah, General. Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross taking over for the deceased William Hurt, R.I.P.
And you have Shira Haas and Tim Blake Nelson, who is returning. This is kind of, I should have gave spoiler warnings before, but we will talk about spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any more.
We're spoiling your day.
Right? Tim Blake Nelson comes back as Samuel Stearns. I was just trying to think. Yeah, the leader, who I don't think they ever named him the leader in the movies. And the only reason I know that is because the Marvel trading cards from back in the early 90s is just like, oh, this Hulk character, like in the Hulk comics that I don't read, has a really huge brain, and it's just like, it was easy to piece together there. But he's in there, and a lot of stuff from, obviously Ross is from The Incredible Hulk, this 2008 iteration with Edward Norton. And Liv Tyler makes a surprise appearance at the end. Although I guess it wasn't really that much of a surprise since they certainly talked about her enough throughout the movie. It really would not have been great if she didn't show up there at the end.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of ties into the Incredible Hulk movie, which is why I was kind of surprised that Mark Ruffalo didn't show up. There was no kind of Bruce Banner / Hulk showing up, which I get it. But like, there are so many crossovers before with other heroes, and you got the whole thing unlocked. You couldn't get Mark Ruffalo for a couple days of shooting just to get that connection in there. They were tying up, because it felt like they were tying up a lot of, there's a lot of payoff from the Hulk movie. There's a lot of payoff from the Eternals movie, like the celestial being in the middle of the ocean that it's like they kind of ignored after the Eternals. So it's nice that they're like, okay, let's acknowledge some of the stuff that's actually happened. They're kind of tying some of that stuff up. But it would have been nice if they just had Mark Ruffalo in. I don't need the Hulk on Hulk action sequences. That's fine. That'd be a Captain America movie. But if you're gonna tie into the Incredible Hulk movie, at least have get Mark Ruffalo as a doctor saving Joaquin when he gets hurt. Right? It's like bring in Bruce Banner to help out. Right? It's like sure.
Yeah, that stuff it would make sense. And this same topic comes up quite often, especially with the MCU, is like, these events are happening to this one character who's part of the Avengers. He knows all these other superheroes. Why aren't those superheroes just flying over and giving them a hand, right? And I think always kind of like the go-to excuse is, hey, you know what? These events are taking place over like a short time frame, like 24 hours or something. So it's like, oh, maybe they can't really mobilize. But, Winter Soldier does show up here in a hospital room just to, give a little pep talk. Which was clearly just like, oh, the actor's available this day, so let's film that. And the other issue is Bruce Banner, spoiler for the She-Hulk show, shows up in the She-Hulk show numerous times, right? Like he's in there through multiple episodes. So you're like, well, he's not, maybe the actor just wasn't available, but then I'll just slap back and say, this movie was under production for a year and a half, if not more. They did some reshoots, which actually did make me nervous for the end product. And I think I read somewhere about those reshoots were mostly focused on bringing in Sidewinder, played by Giancarlo Esposito. So it was like they had lots of time to bring in lots of cameos, but I guess maybe a lot of it was cut out because this was like a 2-hour film when MCU movies are usually like 2.5 hours long now.
Yeah, it's too bad. It would have been nice to have that little connection. Mark Ruffalo was there, even like a little scene between Mark Ruffalo and Liv Tyler, just kind of like, tying it, because there's like all these, if you're gonna tie up loose ends, and tie up loose ends, right? Like come full circle then.
Yeah, like I need to see that. Liv Tyler should hopefully come back in a future movie with Mark Ruffalo because he was doing everything for her. Like she was his rock, and it's like, they didn't have her in the movies. He sort of switched over to Black Widow, and that was like his love interest for a while. It's like, what's he up to now? Would he be happy to see Betty again? She's just been chilling this whole time. Presumably doing whatever she does. Yeah,
kind of when Sam goes to his military buddy and he says, I got a guy who's going to do the analysis on these pills that the president's been taking. I thought for sure they're going to reveal Betty was the guy.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
She was a scientist. She is a scientist in the, like she was working with Bruce Banner at the lab. And remember all the way back, 16 years ago, The Incredible Hulk. I was like, yeah, that would have been kind of cool little tie-in. It's like, okay. And then that's how she gets pulled into this.
Yeah. My guess is that they probably pulled back on a lot of that stuff because, frankly, a lot of the tie-in stuff has been kind of like maybe backfiring for them in other movies. I think they had to like cut it back to some basics for this film and try and get people back into the theater for these.
Yeah, I think, again, I feel like I'm out of lockstep with the general opinion again. I don't know. I'm reading all these reviews online about how negative and milquetoasts and all these negative reviews for Captain America, Brave New World. But like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better outings recently, actually. And I think, very smartly, as other people pointed out, but I was like thinking this as a watching, okay, they're actually borrowing a lot of like the plot points and structure like from Winter Soldier, which is like, I think in my mind, as I said, my favorite MCU movie, favorite Captain America movie. And so it felt like almost like a Winter Soldier kind of light in terms of the plot, which is smart. If you're trying to kind of go back to basics or trying to go back and recapture the magic, like, model it on a film that worked, really well. But like, I think the plot, they kept it, like you said, pretty simple to its benefits. The action scenes for me were kind of hit or miss. It felt like some of the action was choreographed really well, and some of it was just like really kind of boring and bland and not, I don't know. It was like a weird mix of like, it reminded me, it was almost like cutting Christian Bale's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman into the same movie, right? Where you look at The Dark Knight and they're moving at like human speed and it works in that context, but you compare that to like Ben Affleck's Batman in Justice League and it's moving almost at superhuman speed, almost kind of superhuman strength, and juxtaposed together looks very, very different. Different kind of physicality and different kind of style, but it felt almost like that juxtaposition in the movie where sometimes it felt like they were moving kind of human speed, which is not, but like compared to like the CGI versions of themselves or doing all this crazy stuff, it felt super slow and kind of bulky. And so like it was a weird kind of mix. Like some of the action scenes were pretty cool and showing how Sam Wilson is somebody who doesn't have technically superpowers, although his suit basically makes him superhuman. But he's having to like rely on his agility and his wits more than just pure brute strength. So that was kind of cool showing us like, oh, he's pulling off acrobatics, or he's got to be like top of his game in terms of like martial arts and kind of fighting style and stuff. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool showing that stuff off. But it was just like, it was always kind of hit or miss throughout the movie. Like some of it was choreographed really well, and some of it was just like, felt like they were just like throwing a couple punches and calling it a day on the first cut, right? It's like, I don't know, it was weird.
I could see that. I think I did enjoy the action for the most part. And I think most of that was because they pulled him out of the suit and took his tools away quite often. And so it was like, all right, here's the proof that, Sam Wilson can fight and he knows how to fight and he has to do different moves and all this stuff. Because of the intro action scene, he's in full gear, the shield and the wings. And the wings, I assume this guy has like a neural link or something going on. Because
he's got it, right?
Right? It's just like controlling the wings, which is all fine. But we know these wings are made of vibranium. They have that Black Panther suit stuff where it's like it's building up the force. He doesn't really use it a whole lot. But at any time when he's fighting someone, he can just pull a wing out and literally just stop anybody in their tracks, right? And then when like Sidewinder attacks him on the street, it's like, oh, of course he's not riding around with a suit on and his wings on all the time. And he actually has to pull out some ingenuity to get through those scenes, which I enjoyed.
Well, like he got stabbed in the chest, he got hit in the side, and he took it like a champ. I was like, okay, and it's like, it goes back, like the character was a soldier previously. It's like, okay, this guy is like, he puts on like that kind of like, he's a little bit more jokey than the other Captain America, Steve Rogers. But it's like, okay, this guy is actually pretty tough. He can take these hits. It's like, okay, that was kind of cool showing that, right? It's like, well, that's why he's in there, right?
Yeah. And also his buddy there, who's now the Falcon, Joaquin, they're taking down the missiles and maybe a little too sure of himself, and he screws up and he almost kills himself out there, or almost gets killed, I should say. And he spends the rest of the time in the hospital because these are not super soldiers. Like they're dudes at the top of their physical game. I'm sure they know all the moves, but they're still going to take a tumble here and there, which also further props up Sam's like ability out there. Like when he's using the wings, you're not just like invincible. Like if you and I popped on these wings, like we can't just go be a superhero right after. It's like this took him probably a decade of practice to figure out how to like use these materials properly.
See, that's interesting. At the end when he was telling him, is like, oh yeah, you got to boost first before you kick it into overdrive or whatever it was. I was like, okay, you got to know your stuff. You can't just pop into the suit and use that. That's interesting you point that out, because like I was watching this, I was like, okay, everyone just has, it doesn't feel like anybody's special. It feels like just people are in suits now. It's like it's almost like mech or Gundam fighting now. It's like, okay, everyone just gets the suits. But you're right. It's like it was established before when his first kind of outing in Winter Soldier. It's like, okay, he was already training with these wings, and he's been training doing aerial kind of combat for a decade. So he's like, okay, yeah, of course you have to kind of know stuff. Because that was one of the things that like they make it this huge plot point in both the show. Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Captain America Brave New World. Is like, oh yeah, should I have taken the serum? And he keeps like taking this moral high ground. I'm just like, part of me is just like, just like find some way for him to take the serum to make him kind of super powered. And part of me is like, no, it's kind of cool that he's just a mere mortal doing this stuff. But it's like, I don't know. Part of the fun of watching superhero movies is watching them do kind of crazy physical stuff that nobody else can do. So like I was thinking, like, would it be more interesting if he was putting a moral show? Like I was thinking, what if Sam was the one who got injured, risked his life to save the ships there in the combat between America and Japan? He's the one who gets injured, and he's on the death's doorstep, and he's like, do I take the serum to save my life and, take those risks? But it's like because like he's still like agonizing over, should I take the serum? Should I not? Kind of, so whatever the was it secret? Was it called American Agent or whatever the guy's name is? John.
U.S. Agent, yeah.
U.S. Agent. It was like an unstable version of the Captain America serum.
Yeah.
It was like, should he take it? Should he not? I was like, just take the serum, dude. Be superpowered. Let Sam have his superpowers and be done with it. But then the other, I don't know. It just like, it sucks that everyone's relying on like suits now. It's like, it's the suit it feels like the suit that's special as opposed to the person. I don't know. I'm of two minds.
I think you hit on two really good points there. One, taking the serum or not. And I think the movie did express, I don't know if it was just the Bucky, pep talk, but it's like,
yeah, which was good. One of the best scenes.
Being a normal guy, he is more of a role model for regular folks in this role. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if he was super powered, it's like, well, we can't all be Steve Rogers. It's like, and you just resign yourself. People see Spider-Man and you're like, oh, the whole thing there is like, he's wearing the full bodysuit. Anyone can like place themselves in the Spider-Man suit, right? But everyone knows they can't all just have spider powers, right? It was just like, but here,
Yeah. Okay.
he's out there, he's using his real face, uncovered, and he's just a normal dude. And then you have this juxtaposition where, yeah, I thought maybe they would give him powers in this as well, like find a way to do it. And I'm kind of glad they did now. And it's this thing, like, everyone loves Batman who has no powers.
Yeah.
You know, he's the top of his game for absolutely everything, and no one gives him any grief for like not just injecting himself with something. I'm sure there's been countless opportunities for him to do that. And why should Sam be any different in this role, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm of two minds, and I like too that they made up for that. He's a strategic fighter. It goes back to in the Winter Soldier. He was introduced as somebody who was counseling war veterans, getting over their PTSD, and they pulled that in to both like the final fight as well, right? Whereas like he's strategically fighting, and he's using his mind, he's using his brains, he's trying to like connect with people and talk them down and talk his way out of the situation instead of resorting to violence right away. So like, okay, I get it.
The other point you had was these suits, and I have difficulty getting past this because they've introduced the nanotech suit, like the Iron Man suit that's literally just like in a ring on Tony's finger that can unfold into infinite power. That bothers me after a time because it's like you've just lessened, like even Spider-Man again. You give him a nanotech Spider-Man suit that can go into space. And it's like, all right, so why wouldn't Falcon have a full nanotech suit? Like Ant-Man has a full suit. Now it's focused on getting big or small, but they've sort of showed we can modify that too. Like that should be a full nano suit. Like it doesn't matter anymore. You've got too much power in the tech. And I think they have to scale that back down for it to become like normal again, right? And maybe this is kind of part of that. I don't know if that continues later on, but it's kind of nice to see when they get out of these crazy suits. And it's like, I need an excuse that, we just can't sustain these things. Like Tony could because he had infinite money. Well, not all the rest of the heroes can keep affording to do that. The Avengers, initiative is not in place right now, so they don't have funding from the government, all this stuff. Like,
yeah,
you have to spell it out because it's just like, it's just too much magic at the end of it all.
Yeah, no, I like that point you made about, like Bucky's whole speech about like he's a better role model because he's not juiced up on, super steroids. He's a regular dude still going toe to toe and still doing the right thing and standing up. It's like, yeah, I dig it, man. I dig it. It's still just cool to watch a human being just like prevent a helicopter from taking off.
100%
too. It's like,
I mean, you also, that's the other part of it. So these are superheroes who are doing things fantastical that you and I can't do. And that's why we lose ourselves in the fantasy.
Part of it's the fantasy and the escapism too. Is like, so yeah, I'm still kind of torn, but like, I respect it though. It's kind of a cool little conflict where he's constantly feeling like he's not as good as Steve Rogers. Like, I'm not as fast as him. I'm not as strong as him. I'm not as morally capable. And like Bucky's like, no, the reason he chose you instead of me was not because of physical strength, because of moral character, because like he saw inside, right? It's like, yeah, like physically Bucky's stronger. He's superhuman, but like in terms of like morality and like being able to stand up and inspire people, that's the core of what he was looking for. So that's kind of cool. I dig it, man. I dig it.
Definitely. And I could see this Sam being like a leader of a future Avengers. It's just like he's got the character for it. And I think we need somebody like that in there. You mentioned the reviews on this movie being like, users are tearing this movie apart. Some of the harshest reviews I've ever read for a film that really don't feel genuine. And I just want to read a couple of them just from some of the people I follow on Letterboxd here.
So it was like the mean celebrity tweets thing from Jimmy Kimmel.
And I don't have these like queued up beforehand or anything. I'm just trying to stick to some of the short ones. Like this 1.5 stars. It just says, yeah, no, this just really sucks. Okay, it's like that doesn't really help the situation. This one a little more involved. This movie couldn't exist unless we were living in the world Mike Judge prophesied in his film Idiocracy.
What?
It's like, wow, when you peel that back, it's harsh. This one, a 2-star review. What a pointless disaster, terrible plot, extremely boring and a wasted villain once again. This one compared it to a 22-minute cartoon plot, specifically calling out G.I. Joe and Cobra.
But G.I. Joe's awesome.
And that one made me go, you know what? Most G.I. Joe cartoons were probably referencing a lot of like 50s and 60s, Manchurian Candidate stuff, right? It's like a lot of cinema from back then. And we're still doing that now. And that's kind of why the Captain America movies are some of the strongest ones, because they're full of different intrigue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised to see users so harsh on this, and we'll take a guess at the actual averages later on. But I want to bring up Harrison Ford. Somebody did mention this is now a new movie in the grumpy Harrison Ford cinematic universe.
I thought he did a great job replacing William as a replacement for William Hurt. I think he was like pretty tuned in and dialed in, and gave, like, as people were saying, like, probably a better character arc than Captain America himself, right? Captain America was just like, Sam Wilson was always like, people were pointing out he was right about everything, right?
Yeah.
He was right about Isaiah. He was right about going to go to that secret lab and doing the research. He was right about this stuff. It's like, okay. But like Ross was like going through, like, he was a conflicted character. It was like, yeah, he saw the stuff he did before, and you heard about some more stuff he did, and you learned about some of the stuff he did now. But he's trying to it looks like he's trying to do better. He's genuine in his kind of, like this idea of like making this treaty with all these other countries to responsibly mine and share the adamantium from the celestial island there. I was like, okay, it was kind of cool back and forth, and there was some of the humorous moments where, like, he was on Air Force One, and his aide comes in, and is like, make sure you tell the doctor I did 5 miles, and she's like, I'll tell you 3, not 5.
Yeah, it's everything
on the recumbent bike there. Yeah.
No, I agree. Like, Harrison Ford is a good actor, and I don't think the movie wasted him at all. I think he showed up and he did excellent work, and I mean, who better, I guess, to turn into a Hulk than grumpy Harrison Ford? Grumpy Thaddeus Ross.
For all the criticisms of how kind of flat all CG Marvel movies look now, it's like, yeah, that's a fair criticism level against the movie. And Captain America: Brave New World didn't stand out for me as much. What I will say is I prefer, if you're going to have kind of mediocre CGI, at least it's like brightly lit in daytime instead of like poorly lit and like dark and foggy where I can't see anything. But I will say, like, they have like the Hulk CGI down to a science. Like, that Hulk looked really, really good.
Yeah, it's true.
The red, where Thaddeus Ross turns into the Red Hulk. It was like, he kind of looked like Harrison Ford, but it was like, yeah, they look photoreal now, right? It's like, yeah, they got it down. Like,
yeah,
it looked amazing. That looked good. Like, the backgrounds, all the backgrounds. So like all the lighting was pretty flat, as is pretty standard, because I think most stuff's done on like a blue screen and stuff, and they're comping a bunch of stuff in. But at least it worked in the day. Like, when the Hulk turns, it's in the daytime, and then the final fight is all in the daytime. It's like, okay, this is at least the flat white bright lighting worked better in the daytime than it does at the night. In the night, I don't know.
At least there was a little bit of color of those cherry blossoms, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's brutal. It's like, I've seen criticism of that last scene as well. And the whole time I'm just thinking, like, oh, what is the Red Hulk? Like, why is he red? Is he more powerful? Is he less powerful than a Green Hulk? And it's like, I'm getting a little too caught up in like the comic book lore of it. And here where it's like, oh, like his wing can slice open the Hulk, like the Falcon, Captain America is going toe to toe with the Hulk, which is no easy feat, as we've seen in previous movies. But maybe because he's red, he's not quite as powerful. It doesn't matter, really. Like, you have a smart decision, I think, and this is his first transformation into the Hulk, or into a Hulk, I guess, where it's like, yeah, I mean, you probably lose control of your body, and his mind is still in there, and everyone knows. It's like, oh yeah, when Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk, we don't treat him like a completely different person. Like, Bruce is still in there somewhere. So like, it makes sense that they would just immediately think, yeah, Ross is still in there. We gotta talk to him. And there was that great line earlier, what kind of made me chuckle. It's just like, he's fighting, Sidewinder tells us like, oh, I was told there's like a 77% chance you try and talk me down. after like the initial volley of attack here, and it's like, yeah, that's what Sam's going to do. He's going to talk you down, and I think you sort of alluded to it earlier as well. It's just like he's not just all muscle and tactics here. Like that is part of his arsenal, is just being able to talk to folks and give them going.
Yeah, and for all, like, I thought that ending fight was actually pretty good. I was pretty engaged. It was like well choreographed. It was, sometimes some of those cuts, especially or some of those fights with the fast cuts, you sometimes lose what's going on. But I thought I had a really good sense of space. I could see what was going on with the fights. You could tell that Captain America was completely overpowered the whole time. So I was like, okay, even with his vibranium suit, and it was like, finally, he's like, yeah, the Hulk just starts tearing it to pieces.
Yeah.
He's crushing it. It was like, okay. So it's like, yeah, he's in the back foot the whole time. So it showed how powerful the Hulk was.
And I think the only thing that really would have been maybe a little better handled was having Betty Ross show up at the end of that fight to like help him bring himself out of the Hulk form.
Yeah. So that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was for all the time, like in the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that whole ending speech where he's telling the Senator do better. Like people rightfully so have made fun of this speech because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the hero coming in and not using necessarily violence as the only tool to solve these problems. So when he comes up and he's talking about, he has a big fight with the Hulk, kind of knocks the Hulk back for bits. And then he's talking, it's like, yeah, you think about your daughter, think about this. And he turns out, like, I thought for sure, like you're saying, when all those trucks were pulling up, I thought for sure Betty Ross was in there and he had called them in as a backup plan so that he would see her and she'd be able to kind of calm him down. I think that would have made a bit more sense. Like that to me would have elevated that to be, closer to kind of top tier Marvel stuff, or having Mark Ruffalo in there just to tie up those ends together. I think would have, bumped this up a little bit. But I like the idea of, Sam Wilson, different Captain America. He comes in, he's like, yeah, I'm going to try and use my words, try and use my abilities as like experienced counseling soldiers with PTSD. He comes in, he's got that counseling background. So it's like, yeah, he's going to work through your problems. A kinder, gentler Captain America. It's like, yeah, the non-steroid. This is a natty Captain America. For all you people out there who don't know, like natty's the word. It's a short form of natural in the bodybuilding or workout world, where it's like no steroids, no creatine, that kind of thing. So he's the natty Captain America. He's all natural. No super soldier serum, no steroids for this Captain America. So
I want them to address, would Sam use regular old steroids to keep in shape and like recover more quickly? Like it's not super soldier serum. Like what kind of world is the MCU? Like are steroids that much safer because they have super soldier serum and like they can further refine that into something that everyday people could use?
Because there's different levels, because I know like the Black Widows, and there was an ex-Black Widow person here as the head of security for the president, and like she's like people have been saying, like she's even smaller than Natasha Romanoff, and she's tossing around 200-pound guys. So like I don't know in the comics that they use some kind of enhancements, some kind of steroids or super soldier serum, not as powerful as Captain America's, but something to boost them, or cybernetics, or I don't know, something. But like obviously they're stronger than the average bear, right? So maybe there's like a cocktail of regular old steroids is enough to get you up to that closer to that peak, man, maybe.
And that's the thing, like at the other day, it's like we're talking comic book characters in a fantasy movie. It's like I can move past a lot of that stuff, but it would be kind of nice to just have like maybe even in the Black Widow movie that we've kind of missed something where they said, yeah, maybe that's part of their training is taking some kind of drug that we don't know about that makes them stronger. But even stuff, little lines like that could go a long way in these films for sure.
Yeah, like little touches. I thought it was good, but not quite great. There was like a lot of callbacks to other movies, and people were like, I think people were complaining now. It's really weird to hear these complaints where people were feeling like it didn't tie in as much to the other movies, and I thought that was one of the stronger points for the movie, where it was able to stand on its own as a standalone movie. It didn't rely, like it was tying up, it was referencing other movies, but it could stand on its own as its own movie. It didn't feel like it was setting up the next three movies. It was like, no, it was just like, this is Captain America's movie. and we can just stay with Captain America and not worry about that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it did feel a bit like another Hulk movie at times, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think it has no problem standing alone as its own Captain America. I think it's kind of, I don't want to say weird, but like for me, it's satisfying to go back to the Incredible Hulk because it's like it's the odd one out. We had Iron Man and Incredible Hulk launch in the same year, and Universal was just doing its own thing. And I think the tie-in for the MCU at that time was just literally an end credits scene where there's a box of like Stark Industry, munitions or something in one of the scenes, and you're like, yeah, it's so loosely tied in. They could include it or not include it, so they didn't have to. And it's kind of nice that it's like, yeah, it's recognized, it's in here. Although in the She-Hulk show, Abomination also shows up with the original actor as well. So it's like, it is nice that they're not forgetting all the roots that they're pulling in from other stuff where it makes sense.
In Shang-Chi, don't they bring the Abomination to that fighting ring too? So it was like, okay, it's nice that they're, for me, like the Hulk, like for me, like the Hulk is one of my favorite characters, comic book characters. So the Incredible Hulk has maybe more of a special place for me in my heart than other MCU fans. So I find it nice. For me, it was a plus when they're referencing that movie and bringing it back. It's like, okay, that's really cool that they're all this time later and they're kind of, it's part of the family still, right?
You know what would have been epic? What? Jennifer Connelly coming back as Betty Ross. Okay.
If you're doing the multiverse thing, Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly come in there.
Well, 100%. And even like the Ang Lee's Hulk, I don't think you could rule it out. I think at the beginning of the Incredible Hulk, he's in South America, which is where at the end of the Hulk, he said, I'm going to South America. I'm going to help people. And that's what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Directly followed. It was a continuation of Hulk, like 2008 Hulk. I think not 2008, some earlier one. Anyways,
2005, I think, right? Yeah.
Bit of a stretch. It's fine. But it would have been
that was intentional. I think that was intentional.
It would have been kind of a neat seeing her come in as Betty Ross if they couldn't get Liv Tyler, because it's like, it's the same thing in the Wanda show where they bring in, I can't remember his name right there. The quick shoes there, whatever his name is. They bring in the actor, and it's like, oh my God, this is going to be the direction of the X-Men. And here's like, nah, it was just fun casting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Quicksilver from the...
Quicksilver, that's right.
From the Fox X-Men franchise, not the Quicksilver from... that wouldn't make sense now, because now Aaron Taylor Johnson played both Quicksilver and Kraven, right? So like, yeah, got all these doppelgangers now.
Oh my goodness.
It's really weird, yeah.
There's a lot that could go on, and I could see how it's overwhelming. For if you're just trying to like watch these movies and you haven't seen the TV shows, I could see some questions coming up. I don't think the movie like does the best job in the world of kind of like summing up the TV show, and I think they just don't include half the details of like all the vials of super soldier serum, the different villains that were going on in that show. But I think it picked up the core of it, but it's gotta be a mess.
Also, a big thing from the show they included was Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
Which was that actor. People were rightfully so praising him. Like, he did an amazing job. His journey he went on, because like the lore of it was, he was given, a version of the super soldier serum. He was tested on, and he sent out a couple missions, I think, in Korea, and then he was locked up for 30 years and experimented on. It was a big plot point in the show. And they brought him back here as like, and he was really great at how they tied him in to the attempted assassination plots. And then it was pretty emotional when they arrested him. And he's like, yeah, don't just go easy on the suit, because it was the suit he wore at his when he was married, right? And I think his wife had passed. I think was the whole thing, right? And when he's in prison, and he's like, I can't go back to prison, because he spent 30 years in prison, and you see him was like on his face, like, I can't go back, man. I'm not going back to a box again. As Sam Wilson's talking down, it's like, you feel that pain. It's like, yeah, of course not. You spent 30 years in prison. It's like, yeah, I get it. You do not want to go back. It's like, so that urge to kind of fight or flight kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it was like, was he going to fight his way out? Were they going to shoot him down? It was like, that was super tense. And like, the context of a black man being surrounded by police, potentially going to be shot. I mean, that's, the political climate in this political climate, the social commentary there is, obvious. I think it's
pretty, it's pretty obvious in
there.
that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that would have made a killer Disney Plus TV series. And Isaiah
Bradley, yeah.
As in his youth, getting the super soldier serum, going to the Korean War or Vietnam, and then being locked away. And it's like, all right, fast forward 30 years, he's being released. And now that is the guy who's in like the new Captain America movie. It was like, that to me is a missed opportunity with these TV series. Instead of making them mandatory viewing, like the Falcon show kind of was, make them offshoots, like really explaining an important, interesting character that we see little bits of here. Like we see him for a bit here, obviously in the Falcon. For me, that show was really all about him and the Falcon and like racism.
Yeah.
And then having him in the movie, it's just like makes perfect sense. Having his own TV show would have been brilliant leading into either the Falcon show or this movie. I mean, I think the Falcon show should have been its own movie anyways, but this should have been number 5 really for Captain America.
Yeah, they should have done that as a movie. But also speaking, I don't want to get too political here, but I think this was a movie that kind of knew its time and place and kind of the political landscape, where the ending of the movie where Ross, he's like, he visits Ross and it's like, President of the United States. He's like, I admitted to all my crimes and voluntarily locked my, turned myself over to the courts, locked in prison. It's time to move on and let the nation heal. A not so subtle nod to a certain U.S. president who was convicted of 34 felonies. And, I was like, there's a little bit on the nose, but I think it's like, this is some necessary messaging. And you could tell, like, to me, at least like an attempt to at least speak to, current socio-political environment. Is like, you know what? It shows that the writers and the filmmakers are at least paying attention and they were trying to say something, even if it was a little bit, you can argue it was ham-fisted or was a little bit on the nose, but like, at least it was attempt at depth here and a depth at trying to say something. Right. So I thought it was like, you know what? That's kind of it's a positive message though, at least, even though it's going to fall on deaf ears, but you know what? I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Without a doubt. Anything else you want to add before we get into our ratings on the film?
The leader. What do you think about having? Tim Blake Nelson's always great.
Yeah, he's always great. The actor looked like he was having a lot of fun. I have to say, when they just started doing more mind control stuff, I was rolling my eyes a bit. I couldn't help it. I was like, this just feels like,
it felt a little repetitive from Winter Soldier, and he felt almost like. It was almost like Baron Zemo's plot. He was like a Baron Zemo light almost, right?
Yeah.
Kind of pulling strings from the background.
We did not get like a follow-up to the Baron Zemo like dance scene from the Falcon show. Like, that's pretty classic.
They kind of botched that. But I did like the fact that the villain wasn't, a big physical threat. He was like, that's interesting too, is that not always like the biggest, like, sometimes you have the Thanos where he's just like uber powerful and you can't physically take him down. It's nice where it's like, okay, both the main character and the villain were like, oh yeah, we're not huge physical threats. We got to use our minds. We got to be a bit more tactical and think things through a little bit more. It's like, that's a bit more interesting than just two guys punch each other and smash each other. It's like, okay. Yeah, it was kind of
like, I love the idea that this guy he's super smart. He's pulling the strings. And we would get to see a huge payoff, but I don't feel like the movie really showed us that big payoff of like him pulling all the strings. It's kind of like, it felt like the ending of Seven. Sorry for spoilers on this movie, where it's like, John Doe walks himself into the police department, gives himself up. He's just like, the leader's doing this. He's coming in. He's like, my plan is going to unroll as it does now, and I can give myself up. And it was just like, no, it just kind of backfired on him, and now he's in custody and in jail forever.
Yeah, and his whole motivation was, to get. I like that the stakes were a bit smaller. It's like just to get like revenge against Ross specifically. It's like he specifically, like, because Ross went to him. It's like, hey, I have these heart conditions. I'm gonna die, and the leader's a genius. He came up with this like medical treatment to save him, but like it was secretly also giving him doses of gamma radiation to turn him into the Hulk or Red Hulk, Hulk. I know it escalated almost to like a war between Japan and US, and presumably the other countries would be pulled in. But that wasn't his main goal. It was just like, no, this guy, I just want revenge against this one dude who I put in power as president. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Where like scale back the stakes and make it more personal. And that I like that as well. Whereas like you don't have to save the universe every single time, right?
Yeah. Next thing you know, the leader will be out in prison because he'll negotiate an early release after curing cancer by turning everybody into Hulks and then just giving everyone a pill to take every day so they don't continue to turn into Hulks afterwards.
Just everyone's a Hulk. Just like there was a movie last year, I think, Werewolves, where half the Earth's population turns into werewolves. It's like, let's turn everybody into Hulks, cure cancer, we're good. End credits.
You got a broken bone? Just turn it into a Hulk for an afternoon.
Hulk'em. Hulk'em, boys.
All right. That being said, we do play a little game, play along at home, where we're going to guess some of the ratings this movie has around 3 main sites: Letterboxd, Rotten Tomatoes, and IMDb. The big 3 before we reveal our own ratings of the film. Rotten Tomatoes. Nathan, what is your guess on the Rotten Tomatoes audience, the tomato meter for, not audience, for critics, I'm sorry, the Rotten Tomato critic rating?
I see my mind is 67.
67? I'm going to go in at 52%.
Okay.
And because I haven't looked at it yet, I did not plan this in advance. Okay. We got to guess the audience one now as well, because once I load the page, I'm going to see them both.
Audience, I'm going to guess a little high. I'm going to guess 72.
72? Yeah, I'm going to follow in at, I don't know, like based on some of those negative reviews on Letterboxd, is like maybe 65.
Okay.
And the actual result, critic rating, tomato meters, 49%.
Oh.
The audience, you are correct, it is higher, and you are closer at 80% on the popcorn meter.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Pretty good.
The old popcorn meter.
Popcorn meter pulls through.
That's a big spread, though. Yeah. Usually they're not that.
Yeah.
Usually there's a difference, but not that much of a difference.
Yeah. The IMDb, their users have a 10-point scale. What do you think the IMDb user rating is?
6.2.
6.2. I'm going to go with a 5.8 on this one.
Yeah.
And it is 6.1. So you are pretty much spot on. Letterboxd, I already had the page open the whole time we were talking, so I'm spoiled on that. But what do you think the Letterboxd user average is? They use the 5-star system.
2.8.
You're very close, actually. It's a 2.6.
Okay.
I did look, when I was watching the movie a few days ago afterwards, I did look up all the averages. This is definitely the lowest average Captain America movie on Letterboxd. It's the only average.
That makes sense.
One that's under 3. The other ones are all like 3+ somewhere. I should have wrote that down, but it's not like we knew we were recording. I can't be that prepared for this.
Wait, we're recording?
Whoops. We're gonna have. We'll just use some AI voices to fill it in.
Do you record all our conversations, Brian?
Yeah, there's other podcasts out there. It's just random combos. All right. This is all that stuff. None of that matters because it's our ratings that are the most important. And we use the Letterboxd system, 5-star with a possible like bonus. What is your 5-star rating of Captain America: Brave New World?
Yeah, again, I don't know. I hear so many mixed reviews, and I feel like I'm out of the loop again. But I gave this a 3.5 out of 5.
Respectable. Fair.
I thought this was better than average. I thought out of the new crop of post-Endgame MCU movies, like this one stood out to me, along with Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of like top tier for me.
Yeah.
So that I had a ton of fun. It was, not as deep as some of the other movies. I think kind of smartly they followed the template of Winter Soldier and pulled in some of the stuff that worked from the other Captain America movies. Didn't quite work the same way. All the other criticisms, like some of the rough edges around the CGI and the lighting and stuff, is like, yeah, sure. Some of the writing could have been punched up. I know Sam Wilson, Captain America, could be given a better character arc, more of a character arc. But overall, like, this was a kind of returned to form for me. It felt like this is just a great fun time at the theater, kind of great popcorn movie. Just going and watching a couple superheroes face off and watching do their thing, watching Hulk out, watching Captain America be all upstanding and inspiring. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun watching this. How about you, Brian? What's your rating?
I settled in at 3 out of 5 stars for this. I could see that going up. I did like the movie. I think it's one of those ones where I'm looking at recent movies and be like, oh, I gave that 3.5 stars, that one 4. It's like this one wasn't quite as good. So I ended at 3.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to look at my ratings for the other ones because this is probably one of the stronger recent Marvel movies, like recent as in the past 4 years now, outings. And it's like, compared to the other ones, maybe I want to rate it accordingly too, because I think I've gone like 4.5, 4, and 3.5 on the previous Captain Americas. So 3 to signify this is the weakest outing for Captain America film.
Oh yeah,
but I think this one deserves more credit than people are giving it. It doesn't really deserve a lot of the harsh ratings people throw it against it. It almost seems hyperbolic when they're like throwing out how awful, like it's not a 1.5 star film. It is far from 1.5 stars. Like it's not the worst thing ever released. It's
especially considering I think about like Black Widow just seemed like a huge miss for me. Eternals, I think I like that more than a lot of people, but I would still rate that lower than this movie. That wasn't phenomenal. It was solid. Shang-Chi was felt mediocre to me. Like a lot of the Marvels felt kind of mediocre. Like all those movies felt worse to me than this new Captain America movie.
Like this, I think this one felt like
Ant-Man Quantumania. I think that was one of my that was just terrible. That was a bad entry in the whole series. So like this one compared to all those ones, like this one is above those ones for sure,
without a doubt. Like, and it felt like a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
because
100%.
All those ones like Ant-Man, Quantumania, that basically, to me, that pretty much killed the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 came out after that, but again, it was part of its own little trilogy of films, right?
It feels like its own thing, yeah.
It was continuing a story that had been well running, and I think it was well regarded. The Marvels came out after that.
Oh, and Thor: Love and Thunder. That's right. Yeah, this is heads and shoulders above Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Deadpool Wolverine again was its own little beast, and quite a good movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Oh yeah, that one was like I feel again like I'm kind of completely out of step with the general consensus. I thought that one was terrible, man. I thought it was really, really rough.
It's been an interesting run. So this is entry number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in phase 5. We're getting one more movie in phase 5. That's Thunderbolts in a couple months. And then we move on to phase 6, beginning with Fantastic Four in July. So again, just a few months away. Too much, too soon, maybe. We'll see. But Captain America, I do look forward to watching this one again in the inevitable rewatch.
Yeah,
and it's one I'll be buying. I want to talk about the purchasing of these as well. Do you own every MCU movie on disc?
Not quite yet. I'm planning to. It's kind of one of those things like in for a penny, in for a pound, right? It's like just have the complete collection. But like I remember like for the first 3 phases, the original run is like there was an urgency, whereas like as soon as that dropped, I want to pick it up. I want to rewatch them again, even the lower rated ones. And this one, I just like phase 4 and 5. I don't feel the same urgency to kind of run and pick them up. I'll wait till they come down on super sale before I pick them up. Right? I don't need the steelbook editions anymore. Whereas like the older ones, like I need the best, most hardcore steelbook edition of these. It's awesome. I was like Thor Ragnarok, pump it into my veins, and now I'm just like bargain bin. It's like for some of these stuff, I was like, I don't know.
I just want to go over, because we're talking about physical media for a little bit. I did not initially buy the Marvel movies on disc, like when they were coming out. And I don't know what my problem was with it. Maybe it was just, I figured they were going to be released many, many times. When they started coming out on Steelbook in 4K, like something triggered in me, and I basically bought all of them in like a 12 calendar month period.
I recall.
And I was quite satisfied. And even to this day, I have all of them, phase 1, 2, and 3, like all in, release order, sitting on its own spot on the shelf. And I'm happy with that. I didn't go all in. Not every single one's a steelbook, but close enough. And I was quite happy with that. But it burned me out. It burned me out of buying steelbooks that were, you had to be there like within hours of it going online at like Best Buy.
And the prices really skyrocketed during that time for steelbooks. Yeah.
Like I remember buying, I think Ghost of the Shell 4K steelbook, and it was, $35. And then all of a sudden they're all $45 and up. And it became a lot. So I decided after phase 3, I wouldn't buy any more of these until recently. But this time I'm focusing on no steelbooks. I just want to buy the movies at an acceptable, like decent price, because I know I'm inevitably going to rewatch these again. So I'd like to have the disc there, but
usually like $20 and under now for some of them. Some of them I don't want. Some of the like Guardians of the Galaxy, like the good ones, I'll pay for.
I definitely paid
like Black Widow and Shang-Chi.
A little premium for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home, that was great though. It was one of their good ones post Endgame.
I'd like to revisit that one. Well, I want to revisit all of them at some point. Except maybe Quantumania.
Yeah, you can skip that one. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
The MCU gods will forgive you.
Incredible. Well, I think that feels like a wrap unless you have anything else to add to the conversation.
No, go Captain America.
Heck yeah. I don't know what any catchphrases are for Captain America. It's shield time.
It's shielding time, yeah.
As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us today and taking the time to listen to our podcast. You can find us online over at reelfilmchronicles.com, where we have not just a repository of podcast episodes, but many of our written reviews as well. If you're up to it, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram as well. All the links should be within the show notes here. So until next time, take care of yourself and others, and be sure to enjoy your film journey.